This film was tired. I watch a new film every other day, follow along for recommendations and reviews. Today, I just finished watching the film titled Before 30 that is showing on Falun Dembo TV. I literally just finished watching it. And this film, you know what? It's actually good that on the VDK Film Club we are growing. Do you know what I mean? Because this film is not as if it's a bad film. Like, if this is your first time watching film this year, you'll probably like this film. But on the VDK Film Club, we watch a film every other day. We have watched quality. So this film, the way I would describe it is like 2G internet. 2G is not bad until you see 3G. And 3G is not bad until you see 4G. You know what I'm talking about? This film is 2G. Like, when I even saw the advertisement, and I wrote it when I posted the poster, that I said this feels like Trials of Olaide meets Alakara Gen Z. But the film is not as good as either. The film essentially is about this mother that has two daughters, Ayo and Eni, and she basically just maltreats Eni and really favors Ayo. Let me tell you what I'm talking about of just rudimentary here. For example, Ayo is the child that the mother believes is in Lagos hustling to better her life. You can guess what the hustle that the Ayo is doing is. Enim has a boss that she eventually meets, and this boss has a project that he just can't quite understand. Something is missing. And then this girl that has been maltreated and is sad comes into his life. Guess what happens with their love story? It's tired. It's very like Cinderella in a very stereotypical way. Even the mother, we've watched Monica, we've watched Trials of Olaide, and this film. Can I tell you that actually watching this film and Trials of Olaide, I would say Monica's mother does not actually seem that bad anymore. Mama Monica doesn't actually seem that bad compared to like Trials of Olaide and then this mother. But this mother here was for me the least layered of all of them. Like, her character is such a like one note character. Like, her whole character trope is hates daughter. Like, that is the only prompt. There's no layers to her the way that Charles of Olaide he had layers or Mama Monica had layers. This one is layerless. And then there's now this like forced comedy with the gate man of the film. Listen, this film, as I said, it's not bad. Teniola and Detola Jones are like the only reason to watch this film. At least they try. But overall, this is like film 101. Like, it's tired. And then at the end of the film, it ends up being like a Christian film. Oh, this film is tired. This film is tired. And I just thank God that we have been watching a lot of quality things on VDK Film Club so that we can actually now have comparative titles that are better. You know what I mean? Because if this was my first time watching this film, I thought, great film, but we know better now. See, if you've watched this film and are ready to come and talk about this film with spoilers, then spoilers ahead in 3, 2, 1, let us go. All right, now we're in the spoiler section. Please, if you're going to write a comment that has spoilers, just write spoiler alert before you write your comment so that we don't spoil it for people that have not yet watched it. All right, let's start this thing. We'll just take it character by character, starting with Ayo. The fact that Ayo never defends her sister, like even from when they're like younger, I was like, oh, Ayo is like a horrible sister. Even saying like, let the girl shift more when she wants to lie down on the bed, like telling her to go and make noodles, like just in every way, the girl, even now planting, when the girl's life is finally done better, you come into her home that she has allowed you into, you plant like the wristwatch of the boss in her bag. Like, I was like, Ayo was just a piece of crap from beginning to end. Another thing that we've talked about on this Video Game Film Club is how I feel sometimes about when a girl's hustle, like when they say, oh, she's hustling in Lagos and it's runs. Like, are we not kind of tired of this storyline? Like, I've talked about it that time, but I feel like we need to see more of women's hustle in film because everybody's hustle is not always runs or still meeting, rich men and stealing their stuff. Like, we can do other types of ways of showing women that are hustlers. That's just a personal thing for me. Moving on to Eniton and her mother's hatred for her, the mother's hatred just started becoming repetitive. And again, there was no layers to it. Like, there was no layers whatsoever. And it just got very tired. The love story between her and her Oga, when I tell you, even when they had their first kiss moment, and then he's not like, I don't want you to feel like, I'm forcing you, it's because of this situation. Can you come because you think you're going to die? And then he now still kisses her tired. Even when she finds the computer, like, and she sees the project, that she starts talking tired. Like, the whole thing was tired. Another thing about this Eniton was that she was such a stereotypical character of like misery. Like, in a way that it's like you're just like the dead host for people to come and beat. Like, and in ways sometimes that we're not even like, for example, when her mother calls her to tell her about like where is Ayo, and then she's like, I don't know where Ayo is, and the mother starts lambasting and she drops the phone and she's like, well, when can I leave? Like, leave me alone. You kind of get the sense that she's like over it. But then when Ayo now comes to her house and plants the wristwatch, she's just aloof again. Suddenly she's just miserable. She doesn't say anything. She turns off her phone, just starts wandering the streets. One random day, the man now sees her as he's just walking up the steps to go where? Because once he sees the girl, he just starts going back home. I'm like, but you're not going somewhere before. But he now takes the girl, they go back home, And I was like, so why did you now off your phone if when he finally met you, you were not even going to really put up that much of a fight? Like, she was so just like that until the end, where she now tells the mother, don't do Ayo like you did me. Like, I'm like, this film. Another thing I want to talk about is the revelation of when Eniton starts telling her boss about what happened. That was so basically, remember earlier in the film, Eniton has asked her mother, why do you hate me so much? And the mother doesn't really say anything. As an audience watcher, right, the audience member, we believe or we are now getting the impression that Eniton does not even really know why her mother hates her. When she's talking to the boss at the end, and the boss asks her what is going on, and then she just starts saying it's a long story, and starts saying the priestess in my home. I'm like, oh, so you already knew all this time? And then the worst of it was when she now starts having a flashback. I said, how is Eniton? How are we seeing the flashback in Eniton's POV? How is Eniton flashback into when she was a baby? This is for her mother to be saying. This is her mother's scene, her mother's revelation to make, not for Eniton. Eniton's own story is the one of I went to go and tell, what happened to her father and losing her father. That one is Eniton's POV and makes sense in her own POV and her story because that's her story to tell. But the one of the priestess is for the mother to tell. At the end of the film, when it now becomes like a Christian film, and they kind of have that accident that was like this accident scene, what a mess that was. But okay, they now have the accident scene. She's now in the hospital. They say that she's dead. He now comes and pleads the blood of Jesus. She awakes, and then next thing they're back in the house, and the pastor is there preaching to them. Even when the Oga Festival was preaching to her about you will not die, we believe in the word of. I was like, wait, this seems a Christian film at the end. And then at the end, when I'm talking about like the final second to last scene where Ellington comes back and she's now like the golden child, and she's saying, don't treat Ayo the way you treated me. I was like, okay, this is a fine place to end. At the end, you now do another scene of Ayo, and that random man has come and now like arrest her. So the mother is now like shouting, and Ayo has been arrested. I was like, okay. Hmm. I don't know how else to tell that this film was so tired for me, but I'm curious to know what you thought about it. Did you enjoy this film? Was it tired for you as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, if you have watched this whole video and you have no idea who I am, my name is VDK. I'm the curator of the VDK Film Club, where every other day we watch something new and we just about it like we've done today. Follow along. All right. Until the next film that I watch and the next video that I make, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.